Creamer Media's Polity Tlhabi Madiba. Joining me today is Coconut Kelz, here to unpack her new book. Briefly tell us a bit about Coconut Kelz. Who is she? What does she stand for? And why is she such a coconut?
Okay, so Coconut Kelz is me. I'm very liberal. I have very liberal politics. I support the DA. That's my life's mission, is to spread the good word of the right party. Same thing. And why am I such a coconut? Because, I had a transitional phase where I thought I was black when I was young. And then I had an experience where I just realized, I'm actually white on the inside. And so I want to be white on the outside. So this book is actually about my transitional journey and how other people can achieve coconutness and whiteness like me.
In what way can one set their sight on Caucasity if they were not so-called lucky enough to be born Caucasian?
Well, it's the steps in the book, like I said. So there's places you can go, there's parties you can attend, of course voting for the DA. There's also different foods you can eat, like if you eat pap and stuff like that, then obviously it's not going to work for you. And then there's also schools and suburbs, I list everything. Each step, if you follow it right, then you're on the path to Caucasity.
Who exactly is your survival guide directed at, and have you had any positive feedback from your readers?
My survival guide, okay, so it's aimed at people like you, darker people, but it's also aimed at people like me who just want to refresh our memories, because I did the steps 10 years ago myself. So it's just nice to be what, where am I in my journey? Am I on the right path? And let me refresh myself. But again, for people like your team, very dark, just to improve your lives and to be on the right path to Caucasity.
You stated that your slave name is Kelelo. Briefly talk to us a bit about your experience since you transitioned to whiteness.
Well, I don't use that name anymore. It's a very aggressive name. It reminds me of my dark past, literally and figuratively. So I just go by Kelz. It's actually in my ID as well. I don't even have my former name in my ID. So since I've been using Kelz, I've gotten promotions, I've gotten more white friends, I've gotten more dates on Tinder with white guys. So it's very important to use your new name if you want to proceed and climb up the ladder, like I said.
Please explain to us the guide of sporting colours over white, especially if they look the same.
Well, you can always tell they don't look exactly the same. Colours still have a broader nose, especially in the bridge. So if you look closely at the nose shape, that's when you'll see the difference. Also, if you touch the hair, now sometimes they do have straight hair, but it's still got a little kink in it. There's still the African heritage deep inside the hair, in the root. So if you just pull it, you'll see from the top there's a little curl that doesn't exist in hair like this, the white hair, that will let you know the difference. Also ask them to speak, and then, then it's clear.
The teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ask them to whistle a little and say, now they don't like to say words with TH because they don't like to be exposed. So you need to ask them to say there, there, there. Once the teeth fall out, there's Bob's your uncle.
You mentioned that if there is an international visitor who wants to take beautiful photos of poorness for their Instagram, they should just take selfies with some of hungry children, but definitely not to feed them, or they will never get rid of them. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
When you go to game farms or zoos, they say do not feed the monkeys. It's the same with the children in Soweto. They are monkeys technically. So if you feed them, they'll follow you. They'll come on your bus. They'll ask for more money. They just become super aggressive. They start tagging at your clothes. And sometimes you'll even feel sorry for them. So you'll give them more or adopt them or something like that. And you don't want to go home, with animals from where you go. It's just nice to see them, leave them there. So try not to feed them, otherwise you'll have a hard time getting rid of them. Trust me. My little sister still lives with us. It's that situation, so don't do it.
Briefly tell us, what do you do with your black family from the Lalis, as in the rural areas, in order to remain as a beneficiary in their will?
They don't have money, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not on their will, and they're not on my will. I don't speak to them. I stopped speaking to them as I started transitioning, because if I keep remembering isiXhosa, my home language, then I won't be able to transition enough. So I had to say goodbye to them. I left them there. I've adopted a new family. Jean-Marie and Kyle are my dad and mom. my adopted dad and mom, but I live with them, and I'm very excited. Yeah, they're my new parents, so it doesn't really matter.
According to your guide, where has your research indicated that the name Jealous or Julius has come from?
Well, Julius rhymes with jealous if you say it in a specific accent. So he is always jealous. I mean, if you've heard him talk, he's jealous of Helen, he's jealous of Musi, he's jealous of white people. So yeah, that's where it comes from. I think that's why God named him Julius, is because he knew he was going to be jealous. Or rather Satan, because, you know, he doesn't. But yeah, just as the same name, Julius Jealous. Yeah.
Briefly explain what is black privilege according to you, and how does it compare to so-called white privilege?
Well, first of all, white privilege doesn't exist, so it doesn't compare because it's not real. Black privilege, Helen explained it very well. If you go to her Twitter page, she explains it well. I don't really know how to explain things that Helen says, because she doesn't teach us. We just have to agree. So black privilege is, you know, you guys, like, here you are, your company has only got black people here. That's black privilege. The president is black. That's black privilege. Do you know what I mean? Like, those kind of things. It's just awful.
Talk to us more about your guide to the top 3 political parties in South Africa, and which one you think is the best.
Well, my guide is very clear, and I really don't want to give too much away. People have to read the book, but the obvious choice is that the best is the DA. Not so much anymore. I'm struggling with them a little bit at the moment, because Musi and Punzile are just very black, and they're going away from what it was first founded on, which is whiteness, rightness, racism. So that's my original best party, though. I'm hoping to get it back to what it was. I'm going to be running for the 2024-2025 elections, just to get it back to where it was. And I'll be old enough and white enough at that time to run it back to its pre-1994 days.
And lastly, as a Caucasian woman trapped in a black body, what is your view on the recent spate of violent attacks against foreign nationals living in South Africa? Do you think the protesting or shutting down Sandton will help?
Well, I've never heard of this attacks. I mean, my best friend's French, my boyfriend's German, and they have never experienced these attacks. So I don't even know if they're real or not. But when it comes to black foreigners, I don't know, because I don't fraternize with them. I do have a gardener. He disappeared. But I think it might have been laziness, because he disappears all the time, then he comes back. So I'm not sure if it's xenophobia or he just wants more money. But otherwise, my friends, my American friends, my Australian friends, they've not experienced this thing. So I'm not sure if it's real, or it's just dramatic. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes people like to, especially you people, like to be a bit dramatic about what's actually happening in the country.
And where's the CC?
CC, oh, she's also disappeared. She's from Malawi or Zimbabwe or Nigeria. I'm not sure. She speaks a weird language, but she's from up there. I don't know where she is. I found her anyway, and I got another CC. They look the same, so it feels like the same thing. So it's wonderful.
That was Coconut Kelz speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about her new book.